All right. I'll tell you what, man. We're gonna go ahead and read Genesis 3, and we're gonna read Genesis 4. Okay. Like I said, I'll do my best not to get too into doctrine. I really try not to get into doctrine because some people just have different doctrines, and I don't want to. I ain't trying to contend that with nobody right now. I ain't cut nobody up. Let's just not talk doctrine. I just want to read the word, okay? This is Genesis 3. You guys can follow along in the NLT. Hold on, let me get the first verse. I'm going to slide my joint up. Genesis 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Man, dude. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. There go a truth sprinkled with some lie. You shall not surely die. For God does know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. That's Psalms 82, verse 6. Okay. Also, there's another scripture that says they ate of the fruit of lies. There's no apple here. Okay. So we gonna go into doctrine, but you gotta clarify this in case y'all thinking, oh, they picked the apple and they bit it. No, it wasn't. No, it never said apple either. Okay. But anyway, the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For God does know in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, pay attention to this next part, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now I want to talk about this in particular after the chapter. But let's just finish, man. I'm going to read this again out of NLT. The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful, and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it could give her. She desired to make one wise, and she wanted the wisdom it could give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her. Well, he wasn't with her, but anyway. Then she gave some to her husband. It's kind of like the NLT. They kind of interject stuff. But like I said, it's thought for thought, so we're going to run with it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim among the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Key part, next verse. And he said unto him, Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded that you shall not eat? So God already knew what was up. But look, let's come back. Look. It said they ate and their eyes were open, and then they knew they were naked. They didn't eat a piece of fruit. They communed with Satan. Right? There was a particular, very, very particular reason in Revelations 12, some of the first verses, why God specifically said, do not eat from that tree. You will surely die. All right? I kind of got to get into it, but I ain't trying to get too deep. Listen to what God said. Who told you that you were naked? Not did you eat the fruit and found out you were naked? Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree whereof I had commanded that you should not eat? There's a secret with trees too. Anyway, I don't get that. Every tree that bears not fruit shall be hewn down and cast to the fire, though, baby. Make sure you're the best tree you could be, so the Lord you can reap your fruit. Anyway, look. And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. That's why I wanted to go back to that part, because the NLT makes it seem as if Adam was there. Adam was busy naming and doing what he was supposed to do. Eve was off gallivanting somewhere, and then she got deceived by Satan. Then she took what that was after she got that wisdom and took it to Adam, and Adam did eat too. Okay? It's giving usurper a little bit, but I ain't. It's giving usurper. It's giving usurper. And to this day, men still chase women. But that Adam Eve complex, man. Let's just read. There's so much here in Genesis 3. I love this chapter. I'm sorry. I love this chapter. Y'all gotta excuse me, okay? So he blamed Eve. Genesis 12. And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And Yahuwah Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that you have done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahuwah Elohim said unto the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman. That's the first enmity, between Satan and the woman. Okay? The next enmity is between your seed and her seed. This is what, hold on, let me get it first. It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. This is why Satan wants to drag you down to that pit with him, because he knows you gonna judge angels. 1 Corinthians 6. Okay? When you inherit this glory of God, you gonna step on his head. All them little demons is holding you back, all the fornication demons, all the weed demons, all his little minions that he used to mess your life and your time up, you gonna bruise their head. But primarily he comes against the women. That's why the scripture says the woman is the weaker vessel, right? So deal with her according to knowledge. Women hear and then they go. Men see and then we go. You understand? He spoke to Eve and got to her. That's how men get to women. We speak to them. Okay, so there's enmity between the woman and the serpent. That's happening now on this earth. Verse 16, and to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception, and in sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. So now there's authority of the man over the woman, right? He already had authority, but now it's like, your desire shall be to your husband. He's the head. You, Christ, man, woman, right? 1 Corinthians 11. God, Christ, man, woman. You understand? You shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. The NLT, like I said, they add stuff. We just read it to bring out the thought. It said, you will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. I ain't going to contend that right now. And unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face once again, the herb of the field. You got to cultivate land now. You got to do it physically to eat, to sustain your life. Before, I think Adam could just tree here, corn here, cotton here. I want this over here, and it just happened, right? He had that dominion, but Satan tricked him out of that dominion through his woman. Okay? So now thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat of the tree of the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread, till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. Now we die. Now we have to get planted. 1 Corinthians 15, 35 through 57. Now you have to get planted. That's what death is. You get resurrected. Tree. You should be planted as a tree. Right? I could get that in what is it, Psalms 1? Ooh, y'all made me I kind of boy, I'm about to jump around. I'm sorry. Go read Psalms chapter 1. It tells you, okay? And Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. I gotta get that word. It's Hawa or Hava, right? That's part of God's name, actually. It means living or existing, right? Look, let me go there. To show, declare, known, breathe, to declare, show, right? But I like that name because I just like that name, man. It's a good name. Anyway, unto Adam also, and to his wife did Yahuwah Elohim make coats of skins and clothe for them, and clothe them. And Yahuwah Elohim said, Man, behold, man is become as one of us to know good and evil. Now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore Yahuwah Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So Satan tricked them out their position, man. And that's what happened. Now man's still working. And we work to sustain this thing, man. Until that's what the gospel is. Christ came to free us from this. He came to free us from this body. Right? You're going to get a whole new body. Right? Because now sin, you have the capacity to sin. And we're going to see that in the next chapter. You now have the capacity to sin. Before you didn't. You didn't even know you was naked. That's why you should have communed with the tree of life first. That's a whole breakdown. He never said don't touch the tree of life. He said don't touch the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay? But I don't want to stretch this too long. Let's go to the 4th chapter. Because now man has the capacity to sin. Nah, he can't just hop into eternal life now. He got to work that out. He got to go facilitate that now. He got to go get all that out his system in a sense, right? So let's go ahead and guard the way to the tree of life, which is Christ. Let's go ahead and guard that. We can't have man to tear this earth up now, man. We ain't doing that. God wise, man. Genesis 4. And Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Let me get that. Hold on. Let me get new for you Bible thumpers. To know, learn, perceive, know. Let's keep going. To know, be acquainted with. To know a person carnally. No. Okay. All right, anyway. He knew his wife. All right, let me pause this. Okay, so he knew Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the tree an offering unto Yah. And Abel he also brought of the firstling of his flock, and of the fat thereof, and Yah had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And Yah said unto Cain, Why are you wroth, and why is your countenance fallen? If you do well, shall not you be accepted? And if you do not well, watch this, sin lies at the door, and until you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him. Sin is eager to control you, but you must subdue it and master it. Listen, once we got knowledge of the tree of good and evil, you now have the capacity to sin. It's literally in your DNA, all right? I believe this is why God shortened your telomeres. You have to die now, right? Because you have the capacity to sin. You can't go on living forever with that capacity to sin. So now you kind of got to go through a proving. That's what this whole thing is now. You need to be planted in righteousness. That's why he said it should be planted as trees of righteousness. You need to beat sin, fam. You need to stop sinning. That's why he say stop sinning. You need to beat sin. You need to subdue it, rule him, right? Every thought not your own. Satan tricked you out your position. He got in your ear through the woman. right? But, bro, this Genesis, so much in Genesis, man. You got to really read this junk slow, bro. Like I said, you just meditate on Genesis, fam. Like, there's so much in Genesis, it's crazy. Genesis 4, verse 8. And Cain talked with his brother Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And Yah said unto Cain, where is Abel your brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground. And now are you cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. Let me get that. Oh, I want to get these words, man. Y'all got to study this Hebrew, man. That blood, man. He said the life is in the blood, man. He said the soul is in the blood, fam. Right? That's why you can't eat the blood, man. Right? Now Abel down in Sheol. He probably resting in Abraham's bosom, but he down in Sheol. He been planted now. Man, your brother blood cry for me from the ground. And now are you cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall not henceforth yield until you her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. And Cain said unto Yah, my punishment is greater than I could bear. Behold, you have driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from your face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that find me shall slay me. And Yah said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yah set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of Yah and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. Where's the land of Nod? Well, remember the earth was flooded too, so we don't really know where this land is anymore. I mean, we know that the rivers are still there, but we don't really know where the land of Nod is. I don't know where it is. Don't ask me. I wasn't there back then, so don't pop in my comments asking me where's the land of Nod? Where's the body of Cain? I don't know, bro. There was also a flood, so we all know that's common science, fam. Verse 17, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch, not Shem's Enoch. This is Cain's Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Arad, and Arad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methusael, and Methusael begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal, and he was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Lamah. And Lamech said unto his wives Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. I have killed the man who attacked me, and a young man who wounded me. Right? Let me go up here. Lamech. Okay. Artificer. Cain, okay. Right. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. Right? If Cain is punished 7 times, then the one who kills me will be punished 77 times. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth. For God says, she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, and to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of Yah, or Jehovah in English. I say Yahu Elohim because I read the Paleo Hebrew script, and that's what we've all resolved from the Paleo Hebrew script. You could say Yahweh, whatever, just say Yah. Psalm 68 verse 4 says, extol him by his name, Yah. Yah is short form for Jehovah, whatever you want to say, Jah, it's Yah. Okay, that's short form, you can use it. That's valid. So I say Yah, I say Yahu Elohim. The name of his son is Yahusha. Yah is salvation, or Yah delivers. Okay, he did say he came in the name of his father. He actually did. The first part of his name is Yah. So he definitely came in the name of his father. Jesus is Greek. You can say Jesus. You can say Yeshua. You can say Yehoshua, right? It's all just transliteration and translation to other languages. The key thing that I want you guys to understand is, even in English, is Joshua. You call him Joshua if you want. I'm going to say Yahusha and Yahuwah. You might hear me say those names a lot, but that's what I'm talking about. There, you might have questions. Who did Cain mate with? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, there was people in the earth. I don't believe in that. I don't know who Cain mated with. What I will say is, Adam and Eve had more sons and daughters, and the genes were more pure back then. So that was allowed. You even have instances of first cousins marrying one another. All right. Now, once he came in with the law, incest is not allowed. Right. It's too many people on earth. Right. The way God works is beyond how we can think and try to rationalize. I'm not going to sit here and say I know it all. I'm just reading you guys the Bible, and I'm commenting on giving commentary on the things that I understand, okay? That's how I'm going to read this book to y'all. And if God gives me more wisdom to answer those types of questions, then I'll answer them. But like Sirach 5:12 says, I believe, if you have understanding, answer your neighbor. If not, lay your hand upon your mouth. That means be quiet. Don't talk about the stuff that you don't know. Sirach 3, I think 20 something, it tells you don't profess knowledge that you don't have. Right? I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the whole Bible. I don't know all of this stuff right here. So don't ask me those questions. Where came body at? I don't know, fool. All right? But that's Genesis 3 and 4. Hope y'all enjoy it.